everybody. I'm Larry Ridley, and this is the NFL on EA Sports. In today's matchup, we should have a fun one on our hands. It's the Seahawks coming in at 6-5, going up against the Panthers, who come in at 2-9. What a surprise here. There's rain in Seattle as we're off to CenturyLink Field to link up with our broadcast team of Brandon Guyton and Charles Davis.
Larry, no trip to the Northwest is really complete without a little rain, and we're going to get plenty of it here at CenturyLink Field in Seattle. Straight ahead, it's a rematch from last year's NFC Divisional Round matchup between the Carolina Panthers and the Seattle Seahawks. Rawls, the lone man in the backfield. He's going to get the football. And he'll find some space up to about the 25. 5 yards on the carry. Good pickup on first down. Wilson now off the bootleg. And he fires one that's intercepted. A great read, and it's picked off. And he will bring this one back. It's a pick six for a Panther touchdown. And the defense could not have written a much better script than that first drive, pick six.
The offense never got a chance to really get oiled up there, did they? But the defense, they certainly got in gear. What a big-time play and a great way for them to start.
And now the offense, they've got to turn things around and figure this out because your backs are on the ground real quickly.
Yeah, usually when you're starting the game getting the ball, 0-0 is the only score you're worried about. Now the second time you get it, you're already down a touchdown.
This fielded at the 2. And he'll make it across the 20 as his guys will set up shop at the 23-yard line. And the Seahawks get ready to trot out on the field. They start on the ground with Rawls. And this one goes nowhere. Losing yardage back at the 22. That's going to go as a loss of a yard, and it'll be second down.
Charles Johnson's stock in trade is coming off the edge and getting to the quarterback. He knows how to make some of those subtle moves inside to help in the run game, and he did it right.
Into double coverage, and it's intercepted. Darryl Worley, the rookie, picked it. And they take possession of the football and have it at the 36-yard line.
And Brandon, the passing game for both of these teams is going to be affected as the game goes along. It's not looking like the rain's going to let up anytime soon. So that might mean a few more wobbly passes and wide receiver slips. And this one winds up getting intercepted.
Steps away to his left. And it's a fumble.
On plays like this where the ball comes free, it's often unusual for the team that lost it to get it back. Because this is the quarterback. The ball gets away from him. Everyone else is trying to execute what they're supposed to do on offense. They're usually looking in the other direction, downfield.
Nowhere to go here. He lost the football. So they escape, so to speak, maintaining the football. Defensively, though, opportunity miss.
It definitely was, because that's all defenses talk about. Getting the football and either advancing it the other way or just getting possession and turning it over to their offense. That can be a little bit deflating. You're exactly right. A lost opportunity.
Offense with a fumble, but they recover it, and it brings up second down. On second down, here's Goff. A dump off here to Stewart, and he'll take it down shy of the 45 at the 46. That one good for 12 yards. And all of a sudden here, it's third down. And at his size, he's a smaller back. You can get him to football. He can kind of get lost, make someone miss. It's good for him.
Yeah, it's great for him. I like what you said there. Sometimes he gets lost in the traffic a little bit, but get him out in the open field into some space. That plays to his strengths the best and keeps him out of it where all the big boys are, you know, make someone miss in the open field.
Back to throw. Goff throwing over the middle, and it's incomplete. He was looking for the connection with Devin Funchess, and that'll bring up second down. When we look at this unit like we are now, Greg Olsen has become such a reliable target in this league.
Loves to be considered the #1 option in the passing game in the offense he plays, and he lives up to it. Knows the defense is set for him, knows how to beat them.
The intended target that time was Jonathan Stewart, and now it's third down. The Seahawks, here's their defensive lineup.
Earl Thomas is the rangiest free safety in the game. Great reactions, great understanding, and boy, will he strike you when the ball's in his area.
So a ways to go here on 3rd and 10. Throwing on 3rd, Goff. Looking for Benjamin, but it's intercepted. A great read, and it's picked off. And a big turnover there as his guys will get the football back. And Seattle now ready to march out of the field. And following the interception, we'll see what they can put together on this drive.
I'm hearing my old college coach right now. He always used to tell us before every game, the team making the fewest mistakes will win. What they're hoping is that last mistake is their only one of the game.
Coaches, that's all they talk about, turnovers, right?
Minimizing those and maximizing opportunities.
And they'll get him down up past the 15. They give him 13 yards there on the play and a fresh set of downs.
So many times you hear today's NFL described as a space game. Get your best players into space with the football in their hands. That's why sometimes you just swing it out to your runner, get him out in the flat, and let him have a chance to make people miss an open field.
Face mask penalty, and Charles, you were a defender. You know sometimes in the heat of the moment, it's hard to keep your hands away from that face mask.
Sometimes you just get out of position as a defender when you're trying to make a tackle, so you end up flailing away, and your hand gets into the wrong spot.
On 1st down, Wilson. And Graham's got it over the middle. And he'll be brought down shy of the 40 at the 38-yard line. From the gun, it's Wilson. Incomplete. And the starting crew defensively for Carolina.
Startulele is a former first-round pick who's starting to round into form, becoming one of the better run stoppers in the league.
And no press coverage here. They are backing off in the secondary. To throw is Wilson. And he is out of bounds, getting it just shy of the 35. It's a pickup of 12, and that'll set up a 3rd down.
If you're running out route, it's likely you end up near the sideline. And what did we just see there?
Toe tap.
You got it. The benefits of practice. Toe tapping, foot dragging, picking it up, and making sure it was a catch.
Play clock. Now with a play clock at 4, we're going to get a timeout called. They'll have 2 remaining as we step aside here in this first quarter. Let's see if the defense tries any pressure here on 3rd and 8. On 3rd down, Wilson. He finds his man, Baldwin. And able to pick up the first across midfield to the 47. The offensive line and its ability to open holes in this defensive front, something they were confident they could create in this game. Got the job done there, picked up the first.
And something they wanted to do. Have we ever met offensive linemen that don't want to fire out and hit people? I mean, they love the running game. Guys want to do that. And when you emphasize it, practice it, and work on it, that gives you an opportunity during the game.
2nd and 10. It's Wilson again. Throwing middle, but it's incomplete. The intended target, Doug Baldwin. And it's 3rd down.
It's always tough for the guys throwing the football when they think they've got a completion and the ball's almost there, and then someone sneaks a hand or two in and bats it away.
Yeah, the defense definitely showing blitz here. Wilson will throw again. He's going to fire one deep, middle of the field. And that one incomplete. Had some position but couldn't hold on, and it brings up 4th down. So on 4th down, as seen on TV, here's their resident strongman, John Ryan, on to punt. Back deep is Tavon Austin. And that one hits a little too close to the goal line, and it continues into the end zone for a touchback. Here come the Panthers now, set to take over on offense. And they had a nice little drive going last time. Threw the interception in the red zone. Costly.
Bad enough to throw it anywhere, but that drives coaches insane when they're thinking about, hey, we've got a shot at points already. We're already in a spot where you're thinking you've got 3 on the board for sure, and to come away with nothing, that's a really tough one for them to swallow.
Yeah, will they make up for it? Now a first carry for Jonathan Stewart. Trying to get out wide, but he's going to be tackled right near the line of scrimmage. Credit him with a 1-yard gain there to make it 2nd and 9.
A 1-yard gain can look like a disaster, but it all depends on how the game is going. Is it a series of 1-yard gains running the ball? If that's the case, you might have to start thinking about throwing it a little bit more. But if it's just the occasional 1-yard run, hey, congratulations to the defense. They won that one. Come back and get them the next time.
And he takes a shot on the release as this will be incomplete.
It's a tried-and-true formula, and I don't think it'll change for as long as we play football. If someone's trying to throw the ball and you can put pressure on them and make it tough, that's only going to help your defense.
Yeah, he's since being hurried. He got rid of it before taking the hit, but incomplete. Now Goff. Going up top. So they took a shot there on 3rd down, couldn't get it. Now it's 4th.
One of the toughest things about playing defensive back is pattern reading, trying to figure out what they're doing. And on that one, they had the fly, just sending a guy downfield with the in route accompanying it, what people call a dagger route, trying to hit the guy underneath after the clear out. In this case, though, they're not able to get it done.
Yeah, they said forget the underneath route. They went for the guy on the fly, but as you said, incomplete. Alongside my broadcast partner, Charles Davis, Brandon Gaudin hits the Seahawks with a football to begin quarter number 2 as they take over following the punt with a 1st and 10. And some changes here as the D-line separates some. The drive begins with a run by Rawls. And able to get this one all the way up to about the 46-yard line. A nice run there, 9 yards, and it'll be 2nd down.
First play of the drive, let's give credit all around. Excellent blocking, but the guy carrying the ball, he was the finisher. A really nice run.
And the reception made by DaMaFreknGr8est's. They get 6 on the pickup there as the drive will continue.
When you see zone defense and you know you got a drag route on as your primary call, you got to be really careful as a passer about how far you let your guy go because he might wander into some tough coverage.
He was looking for DaMaFreknGr8est that time, and it's 2nd down.
When you see passes knocked down by those guys I call the frustrated fullbacks, the linebackers, you know that in their zone coverage, they were able to drop, see the ball thrown, and react to it very quickly.
Blitz coming, and down he goes. Charles Johnson in there to bring him down for a loss of 7. He didn't get rid of the football there, took the sack, although that's easier said than done. He can't just chuck the thing sideways into the seats.
No, he really can't because you're not afforded total protection as a quarterback. You have to get outside of the tackle boxes as defined by the NFL, meaning wherever your tackles operate normally, get outside of that, and the ball that you throw has to get back to at least the line of...
And that's caught inside the 30. He got 29 yards that time. A great job pulling that one in from a guy, as we know, who can really blaze. He's got a lot of speed.
And that speed can work for him so many different ways. Sometimes he just takes off and goes and just runs past people. Sometimes you get people to back off so far that you can catch everything underneath. But still, at some point in the game, you probably have to make some contested catches, right? Sometimes you have to go up and beat a defender for the football. He has that in his arsenal as well.
Showed it right there.
We always talk about having to read defenses and how complicated that is. Well, this was an excellent read. Read the pressure and got rid of the football before it even got to him for a nice game.
And when they're blitzing like that, running back usually a good spot to go with a football?
Without a doubt, because he's right in your sight line or he's near you. So you're able to just get it to him easily. And once he gets in space, that's usually a good matchup for him. All right, I'm going to show my age here a little bit. We used to talk about running backs catching the ball as safety valves. Nowadays, they're a big part of the passing offense.
Quit acting like you're so old. You're only 65. And oh, not only did he drop it, he dropped it in the end zone.
After all the preparation, all the practice, a play like that will absolutely break your heart. They had everything they wanted, just unable to complete it.
And now we get a timeout called on the defensive side of the ball by the Panthers. They'll have 2 remaining as we step aside here in this second quarter. An 8-play drive to this point. So here's play number 9 on 3rd and 7. To throw again is Wilson. And he's got the big tight end Graham. Touchdown, Seattle. Jimmy Graham, his 4th touchdown on the year. And the Seahawks just an extra point away from tying this thing up. So a tie ball game here as the kick's away. It's a very short kick taken by an up man. And he's up across the 25 and down at the 28-yard line. Now the Panthers offense, they get set to come back onto the field. And a tight game after punting last time. See if they can get something going on this drive.
As they head to the field now, with the game this close, you've got to feel there's a sense of urgency for them going on offense right now. But they have to do it without letting panic creep in and affect their play.
It'll be a gain of 8 yards, and it's a 2nd down.
For a second there, I thought that might break big. Screen pass. Looked like it was coming together. Looked like there was an opening. Still, ended up with a solid game.
He's going to leave this for his running back. It's complete. And he'll get it out near the 40 to the 39. Only 3 there on the pickup, but that's enough to move the chains.
So many times you hear today's NFL described as a space game. Get your best players into space with the football.
And he can't get rid of it. He's taken down. Jabal Sheard in there to get him, and that's sack number 8 for him on the year.
Sometimes I watch games and wonder why they use play fakes on certain passing situations because it's not going to fool anyone. I don't know if that was the case here, but the end result was the same. No one fooled. The quarterback was hit.
Here's Goff. And the hit jarred it loose. It's incomplete.
We know it's not an easy job to go out and catch passes when people are trying to tackle you and knock the ball away. But the bottom line is, that's a pass he's got to have and a pass he should have caught.
The wide receiver moving to a new spot. 3rd and long. It's gone. He sets to fire deep. Now a clash of bodies here, and it's intercepted. A great read, and it's picked off. And they have the football and will set up shop at the 33-yard line. First down, this is Rawls. And he'll lose yardage. Brought down at the 32. It's a loss of a yard there, and now 2nd down. And they're going to speed things up here. On 2nd down, here's Wilson. And Wilson's going to be intercepted a 3rd time. Picked by the rookie James Bradbury. And they will set up shop in enemy territory at the 42-yard line. After the interception, here's Goff. And a big loss here as he's taken down. Cliff Averill in there to get him. And that's sack number 6 for him on the year.
Well, so much for setting the tone of the drive offensively. Giving up a big sack that loses that kind of yardage, not a great start.
Oh, the ball comes out on the hit, but they'll say it's incomplete.
So much of this game is about leverage. We always talk about low man wins in the trenches. Well, it's like that at just about every position. And sometimes, if you lose that leverage and you're losing the battle, just jump up at the line of scrimmage and try and bat the ball away. And that's exactly what happened there.
Off play action. Here's Goff. And he can't find a receiver, and he's brought down. The 2015 Pro Bowler, Michael Bennett, in there to get him. And that's sack number 6 for him on the year. Here's Andy Lee now as the drive goes backwards, so he's on to punt it away. .46 on his first kick. This one in that neighborhood as well. And it's taken in at the 9. It's a nifty return of 29 yards. And it'll be Seahawk football, 1st and 10. The Seattle offense now set to come back out on the field. And following the interception, just any interception, are you a little bit more cautious when you start that next drive, or no, you just throw that out the window?
I think you are. I don't think that there's any way you can run back out there and go, totally didn't affect me. Let's just go ahead and be loose with the football again. You're going to take care of it, but you have to be careful about being too cautious because now you can't run any offense at all.
Still want to attack. We'll see how they attack them here. They're going to hurry back to the line now. Wilson. And complete to Moncrief over the middle. And he'll be taken down, but not before he gets into enemy territory.
And when you're playing a quarterback with some experience and some moxie, you enter the danger zone when you decide to blitz him because...
Now hold everything here. We're going to get a timeout by the offense. And with halftime on the horizon, they'll be out of timeouts from here forward. And after the play on the ground, that brings up 2nd down here. Now Wilson on 2nd down, surveying the field. Got a man, it's caught inside the 10. And all the way in, touchdown Seattle. Paul Richardson, his 3rd touchdown now on the year. And the Seahawks have taken the lead. Hauschka now to send this one away following the score. This will be taken in at the 1. And he'll get it up past the 20 to the 22-yard line. Carolina getting set to take the field. And with time quickly fading here in the 2nd quarter, not sure how aggressively, offensively they want to play this.
I think we'll find out just how much they trust their guys in this situation.
Nowhere to go here. He lost the football. I'll call it luck or skill, whatever the case is. They're feeling good about just keeping the football there.
Yeah, the biggest thing that they're calling it now, our ball. I mean, they don't care if it was luck or skill. Boy, the panic that jumps up in your chest when that ball's on the ground, whether you get it or your teammate gets it, just as long as you retain possession, that's all you're looking for.
Both teams appear ready for the fight ahead, and we resume action here in quarter number 3. This fielded at the 2. And he'll take it past the 25 and up to the 28-yard line. Out come the Panthers. They'll have it first on offense in the 3rd quarter. They're down here, but very much in this game. What's the tonality of a coach's talk when a game is within striking distance like this at intermission?
Typically, what they're doing is emphasizing the things that went well in the first half and wanting more of that. Sure, you've got to go over some of the errors and clean up some things because there's a reason you're down. But overall, I think they want to stay positive, stay up with this team. We're just starting the 2nd half, and we've got the football. Let's go ahead and punch it in, and then we'll take it from there.
See how that recipe works.
I know most of the time when the ball's in the air, you're thinking wide receiver, tight end, but running backs, they can be a big part of any passing offense nowadays.
He's going to air one out. And incomplete there. A nice hit. Jars the ball free and brings up 3rd down.
Well, they went for the big play there, but that drop could really hurt their momentum.
Goff now to throw. And that is incomplete.
Timing's crucial in any route thrown, but when you throw an out, so many things are going through the mind of the receiver. catching the ball, timing it up with the quarterback. Are my feet going to get down in bounds? On that play, all those things going through his head might have caused him to drop it.
He gets this one away, and boy, it's another boomer. And well done here. That one will kick out of bounds at about the 8-yard line. Here comes the Seahawks offensive unit. They'll have it first to begin the third. They were able to get the ball back here, didn't surrender any points. Now they'll look to add to that lead.
Yeah, how about the boost the defense gave them? Going right out on the field, shutting them down, not giving up any points, and turning the ball back over. They want to do their part now and show them a little respect and some gratitude by scoring some points.
And to get a little more cushion. Just a yard on the first down carry, so it's 2nd and 9. And now it looks like they're going to be in the hurry-up.
I do know from experience that when you slow down someone's running game, you're now doing the dictating on defense. And guess what? Now you're getting ready to tee off on their quarterback because they have to throw it all the time. But you still have to be alert for the draws and other plays of that nature to make sure you don't get hurt.
They come up in an offset eye. Wilson. He finds his man, Baldwin. 18 yards there and a first down.
I don't care how many times you tell the story, it never loses its luster for me. Doug Baldwin, undrafted out of Stanford, and plays like a #1 receiver should in the NFL. I don't care how you cover him. I don't care that his size isn't great. He's the one that typically comes up with the football.
Absolutely. His roots go all the way back to Gulf Breeze, Florida, where he's from, right on the water near Pensacola. And then, of course, to Stanford. And, boy, he's been good. They stay on the ground. Rawls again. And this has been a recurring theme tonight for sure. Nowhere to run. Back to the line of scrimmage. That's all. And they're going to hurry back to the line now. Well, a well-executed blitz, no doubt. Great job by the linebacker. Maybe the quarterback, if he could have seen that, could have audibled there.
Yeah, he needed to be in a different play because that one just meshed perfectly for the defense. All the gaps were...
And now we get a timeout called on the defensive side of the ball by the Panthers. It's just their first, so 2 remaining as they burn one here in this third quarter. And in their own territory, needing only a few inches, they're going to line up to go for this thing on 4th down. They'll indeed go for it with Wilson. It's caught outright by Graham. Call it a 1-yard gain on the play, and they're able to convert here on 4th and inches. And good to see Jimmy back out there moving okay after the ruptured patella in Week 12 last year. You've dealt with that injury, haven't you?
I have, and let me tell you, you know that expression, I feel your pain? I felt Jimmy's when it happened. Now, mine didn't happen quite the same way his did. His happened in the line of duty. He was playing in a game. For me, I was just coaching and went up to try and catch a pass. Poof. I think for me, it was just mainly age. For him, he was actually playing.
But good to see him back out there healthy. And he is going to lose yardage here. It's a loss of 2 there, bringing up 2nd down.
The evaluation process in today's NFL does not take into account as much bulk as it does speed, and that's what we're seeing with the linebacker position. Those guys that can run, they can play at any spot because they can make plays on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage.
Now Wilson. That's going to be knocked away and incomplete. Well, the numbers have been good in the passing game and certainly a big reason why they have the lead. But now here, 3rd quarter, maybe go to the run game a little more?
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, after that incompletion, a little credit to the defense for shutting them down on that play. Maybe you try and run the football a little bit more in this spot. But they have to feel good about how they've been throwing it overall.
On 3rd down, Wilson. Complete. Richardson has it. And he's taken down, but not before he gets this into enemy territory across the 40.
And fits the exact right word. Over the middle, there's almost always traffic, so anytime you're a receiver in that area, you're not just focused on catching the football. You're wondering where the collision's going to come from, right? Because there's almost always someone there able to concentrate, catch it, and even added a little extra at the end with a short run.
And give him 4 yards there. It'll be 2nd and 6.
Not a run that you're going to write home about, but still a good 1st down run. That's what an offense calls staying on schedule. 3 to 4 yards on 1st down, you're set up very well for the rest of the drive.
On 2nd down, here's Wilson. Pressure comes, and Wilson's going to go down. Shaq Thompson coming on the Wilson for a loss of 7. And the offense third and long. It's Wilson. He's got time in the pocket. Under pressure, and the 2015 Pro Bowler, K'Wan Short, in there to get him. And that's sack number 6 for him on the year. And this will be out of bounds at the what here? The 12-yard line. Carolina getting set to take the field. And they're coming off a 3-and-out, my friend.
I think they've got to look at that play sheet and go to a spot that they haven't gone before. Time to shake things up a little bit to try and get this offense moving.
Okay, so how do you do that? How do you shake things up?
You look at what you've called before, realize it hasn't worked so well, and maybe you try and find one of those special plays from one of your better players, and maybe try and hit something big and get things going in the excitement area.
Here's Goff now on 2nd down. Nowhere to go here. He lost the football. And the offense will cover this one up, but they'll be pushed back inside their own 10. Back now in Seattle, Washington. It's the Panthers in possession of the football, but facing a deficit here as we get to the 4th and final quarter of play. And they're going to go soft on the corners. Third and long. It's gone. And he's going to go down. He backed up into the end zone, and this is going to wind up a safety. After the safety, remember, they also need to give up the football, and here's the free kick. Fielded at the 43.
Now, that's the kind of return that warms the heart of a special teams coach. He'll be pushing us next time, Brandon, to make sure his guys are introduced in the starting lineups. These guys have such an influence on every game. The unsung heroes, remember, they have their own meetings, their own practice time, heck, their own spot on the bench in order to be ready to play each and every week.
Wilson to give to Rawls. And he's going to get this inside the 30. 17 yards on the pickup there. The drive will continue. It's a 1st down.
How many times do we say in this game that speed kills, and it does it in so many different ways? In this case, you got to bet.
Under pressure, and down he goes. They sack him back at the 36. Boy, he came in off the edge so quickly there.
Look out, because that's exactly what it was being shouted by the offensive lineman to his quarterback, because he had no chance to block him.
Wilson completes it to Moncrief left side. Give him 16 yards on the play. And that'll bring up what looks to be a 3rd and inches. Can't be more than a half a foot. And defensively, they just don't seem to have much of an answer for this passing game.
Not at all. Look at the confidence that's exhibited here. With that type of a lead, clock on their side instead of...
The Panthers are going to take another timeout. That's going to leave them with just 1 remaining here in this 4th quarter. They come out with 1 back and 3 tight ends. They'll run for it now. Here's Marcel Reese. And the broken tackle helps lead to a 1st down gain. He needed a yard. That's what he got, and it's going to earn him a new set of downs. So they pick up the 1st down after the run, and now they approach for the fresh set. The defensive line disperses a little bit here, maybe expecting a pass.
3rd and inches, just turn around, hand it to the big guy, and let him plow forward and pick up a 1st down. A lot of people think that the offensive line, they may almost take the play off because they got a big guy back there pushing forward. I think it actually works in reverse. I think they block harder because they love seeing that guy get the ball because he doesn't touch it very often.
On 2nd down, Rawls. And nowhere to run on the interior of that defensive line. He'll get back only to the line of scrimmage. The 4th quarter here, they've got the lead. They want to keep it on the ground. That's what they're doing.
Smart football. Keep the clock grinding. Keep it going. But you got to figure now, they're going to see more people stacked up at the line of scrimmage as they try and bleed it out.
And incomplete. The contact made the ball roam free and brings up 4th down. So on 4th down, out trots the kicker in a big spot here. From the right hash, this from 33. And Hauschka's kick is good. And that will extend their lead even further. So they settle for just the 3 there, but clearly anything helps when you're trying to salt one away here in the 4th.
Without a doubt, I think a touchdown would have been the final nail. But 3 does give them some breathing room and lets it build up a little cushion.
Now onto the field, here come the Panthers. And the last time they had the football, they surrendered 2 points on the safety. They don't want to do that one again.
No, not at all. It's almost like a bases clearing double, isn't it? Give up a couple of runs.
Sure.
just messes things up for you offensively. But now they've got to go ahead, take it, set it aside, and move forward.
Well, they haven't had a whole lot of success in the passing game here. Now, in the 2nd half, he's thinking, I guess maybe just take a shot deep.
I think you're right. Almost looking for a bailout, isn't he? Can my receiver go up and make a big play for me? Can I create a penalty downfield, maybe pick up an interference call or get that yardage downfield? Anything trying to get going again, but you're right. He definitely took a shot.
Play action. It's gone. And this one hauled in by Tavon Austin. And he will have 1st down yardage as he's brought down at the 41. And in a 2-score game, obviously, every play, every 3rd down like we saw there, and no escaping this time as he'll go down. They got him for a sack. Cliff Averill in there to get him, and that's sack number 8 for him on the year. Off play action. Here's Goff. And this is intercepted, and that should do it. Picked by T.J. Green, the rookie safety. And they take possession 2 yards away from midfield at the 48-yard line. And Seattle now ready to march out of the field. And they're not going to play this conservative, I don't think. They had the field goal last time, and they're up, but they're looking to put a drive in the end zone.
Oh, I agree with you totally. No one goes out on the field and says, all right, let's just settle for 3, except in certain situations, trying to ice a game, that sort of deal. Most of the time, it's end zone, and that's what you're thinking, and I believe that's exactly what they're thinking as they begin this one.
Yeah, no quarterback ever goes out there saying, hey, let's get 3, right?
Not one that I've ever met.
And he'll lose yardage here, back at the 47. Time for a break. We're back to finish this one off after this. They'll need to get this to the 38. That's where the 1st down marker is here on 3rd. On third down, Wilson. And intercepted. Maybe the turning point they need. A great read, and it's picked off. And they will take over at the 26-yard line. Carolina getting set to take the field. They'll start the drive with a run by Stewart. And he powers his way up past the 30. Give him 5 on the carry there, and it'll be second down. And quickly, they get to the line.
And that's exactly what you want on a first down run. Pick up 5 yards, bring up second and 5. The defensive line, though, they've got to figure out a way to out-leverage the guys up front because the offensive line is winning at the point of attack.
So incomplete on second down. Now they'll look to convert here on third. From the gun on third down, Goff. And he gets it to Funchess, complete. 8 yards there on a first down.
In recent years, the slot receivers really gained stature in the NFL because they can do so many things. Yes, they can line up wide like your normal wide receiver, but to have that kind of courage and toughness to run routes in the middle of the field and become dependable targets for their quarterbacks and move the sticks, those guys are worth their weight in gold.
And this one brought in by a man who missed all of last year, Kelvin Benjamin.
That was a nicely run slant route, and what the receiver's trying to do is make the defender think he's going upfield for a deeper route and then breaks it off, usually after about 3 to 4 steps, and cuts towards the middle of the field. And now what he's trying to do is use his body to keep the defender away from the football and get the quarterback a really nice target. Everyone's got to be able to catch the football. Doesn't matter what position you play, but if you're on offense, be aware a ball may come your way.
Funchess with a catch over the middle. Now we're going to get a timeout here as it looks like there's a Seahawk injured on the play. While the trainers take a look, we'll step aside. Now a play fake here. And no escaping this time as he'll go down. They got him for a sack. Jabal Sheard in there to take him down, and the clock will roll. Looking to speed things up here, going with some tempo. Goal. Hit as he throws there, incomplete. Ninth play of the drive now on third and a country mile. Third and long. It's Goff. And he finds a man. It's Olsen. And he will have the first down inside the 10 to the 9-yard line.
And after that completion, you can understand why so many teams in the league are emphasizing speed on defense at every position. The tight ends have created so...
Now whistles come in. We're going to get a timeout here by the offense. It'll be their third and final timeout, so as they talk things over, we'll step aside. One last throw here for Goff. Dancing to his left. And that will be incomplete as time has run out on this football game. Well, Charles, the forecast called for rain throughout the entire game, and we got rain throughout the entire game. But these two teams, they had fun getting dirty out there. They love the slop.
Did you trust the forecast ahead of time? Were you one of those guys that's skeptical about it, or did you trust it?
But when I saw just a big blob of green on the radar, I said, okay, let's trust.
Yeah, and that's why I'm glad you took my advice. Got your notes laminated, because, you know, open-air booth, that rain can affect us as well, although not as much as the guys on the field. But let's face it, it's kind of fun to watch these types of games, isn't it?
It is. By the way, how impressive is it that you travel with a laminator? I didn't even know there was a portable laminator.
The things that you learn.
Golly, wise beyond his years. So for the Seahawks, the win moves them a couple games over 500 now at 7-5. And they will hit the road next week for a date with the Green Bay Packers. Meanwhile, for the Panthers, this season is beyond salvage now as they fall to 2-10. And they'll get a home date next week against the San Diego Chargers. So that's a wrap. For Charles Davis, I'm Brandon Gaudin. And this has been a presentation of the NFL on EA Sports. For more, check us out at easports.com. It's a win for the Seahawks here as we say so long from Seattle.